most comfortable for you. So here's the official welcome. I'm so excited to have you all here in this call where I get to now celebrate and share. You see my desk here. The 10 things that helped me get well from cancer and live a life sparkling. I call it living sparkling and living with and through joy, which also helped me create wellness and support me in my healing. So it's a big celebration for me to be here from stage 4. Numbers is not my thing. From stage 4 to 0 present. So big celebration. Okay, so that being said, I'm going to give you a quick outline before I fully, I just want to make sure that everybody can see my desk also when I do this. Can they see my desk? I want to make sure that it's really showing well. Okay, they do see my desk now. Okay, perfect. Okay, yeah, I have my desk here that I will share the things that I'm talking about as well. Okay, so the call sequence of what I'll be doing today. So first of all, I want to welcome you all where you are at this moment. Give yourself a hug of compassion. We are all on an amazing adventure, right? It's not always easy. And I know that some of you are in pretty challenging spots at this moment. So take a deep breath, and you see with me that so much is possible and everything is temporary, and I'm sending you love and a hug and power and hopefully a lot of good inspiration in this call where you can draw from my story and get inspiration for yourself to also find ways to thrive. That is my big desire. And so quickly about me and my journey and who I am and what am I doing here? Why am I thriving? So where to start, right? I have a book that I wrote, actually. I'm going to start with that. It's called Permission to Sparkle. And so this book, I had it almost done when I got diagnosed with breast cancer, HER2, and I had a golf ball size in my breast and lymph node and a spot in my lung. And so I was almost done with the book. And the book is all about empowerment and creating your sparkly life and in all life areas, living a magical life, right? And so here I was, book almost done. And then I got to really okay, now I get to see can I actually live sparkling also through cancer? And I took the challenge, and I also used the things that I had already done before for myself to make my life more and more sparkling. And we have more people joining. I'm going to add people to the call as we're going. So that's the essence of quick introduction from my book. So it was part of my healing, and I'm going to share in the 10 things examples, and you're going to see of what I did. But to give you a glimpse and an essence of me, I'm very playful, and I opened it randomly at a really challenging spot. Actually, I'm just going to mention that real quick. So it's a very playful book with creativity in there, and there are play prompts in there that essentially the concept is to be curious of what is going on in our emotions, in our mind, and catching those mind stories, and then seeing what's real and what's not real and what I want to change in my life. So this is the work that I had already been doing when I got diagnosed, and I kept doing this inner emotional sparkle work. And sometimes I'm off the sparkle path. Sometimes we feel heavy and go through these challenging times and feel weak even, right? But then we can go back on the sparkle path. And what I mean by the walking on the sparkle path is when we recognize the difference of what is real and what is not real, because sometimes we feel like a victim and things are happening to us, and and like we can't do anything, and we don't have hope and that kind of thing. That's off the sparkle path, right? And then the same situation, what I found and what I practice for myself in this book is the same situation when we're on the sparkle path, means we are on our feet, we are recognizing, wait, that's a story. I'm creating my reality, and we find back to our power, and we find back to hearing what our heart says. And from there we walk strong and have our next inspired action steps come from the heart, right? So that is what I did during cancer, also to keep finding the sparkle path. And whenever I did that, I was able to walk sparkling also through things like chemo and the surgeries and whatnot. So it's not about a perfect state of being, of always living happy, sparkly, in power, but it's been a practice for me to getting to doing that more and more, and to catch more and more of my mind stories and old, also heal old like grudges and guilts and shames and those kinds of things. So it's really an inner game. That's been a big thing for me, to catch those, let them go, and then come back on that place of empowerment and walking sparkling. And because I have done that, I'm going to quickly get back to this, because there's a reason I opened to this. This was actually shortly before I got diagnosed with my cancer. This time in the book is where everything came together and shit hit really the fan for me, because this is a graph of how much money I had in my bank, which was like almost nothing. I was like, I considered myself broke. I was using the last money I had for coaches I was paying at the time, mindset coaches, because I felt I need to tweak my mindset, and I don't know enough to walk strong. And I was also in a business sabbatical. I didn't actually make money. Yeah, and then I got diagnosed and had this additional challenge. So I wasn't making money in my business. And I was thinking at that time, I need help from others to fix me, kind of thing. So it was a heavy time, and I want to share a quick graphic that I doodled earlier to show how I felt and how I see things. Here's this mannequin person. So this is the body. We all have a body, and we also have emotions. And from a spiritual view, they say like we also have an emotional body, and we have, it's like energy is like if you think of outer energy, like our bubble, right? Like we have different layers. We're more than just a tangible. So there's emotions, and then there's mind stories. Some view it like we have a mental body. Whatever the case, we have mind things happening, we have emotional things happening, and we have life habits also, right? And that's in addition to the body. And all of those, they felt really heavy to me at the time that I described. So I had heavy emotions. I was speaking really harshly to myself. An inner critic. I was like, I'm not enough. I don't know how to do these things. I should be better. I was like shooting on myself. So just to show this, that's where I was at the beginning of my journey. And the doctors that I started working with, they only look at the body, right? So they come in and like Western medicine is very much kind of a mechanical process at this moment, where they're like, okay, they look at the cells and the mechanical, like surgery and fixing that. But I didn't have any doctor work with me on my mindset or talk about my life story or my emotions and that kind of thing, right? So I did that on my own and with additional things, and that's also part of my book. And what I've come to learn in my journey is that I actually had to do this. That's one of the things in order to heal, because Well, I have a story. I'm gonna quickly share the story already now because it's so important. That's actually was the catalyst, and it's going to be one of the 10 points. It's the catalyst that helped me really shift from this state to a state of feeling better and to heal. It was the choice of joy. And that's why you're all here, right? Like you want more joy and more feeling good. And yeah. And so it was one of these moments where I was feeling so heavy in that situation with the money, with the life, with the coaches, and thinking I have to fix myself, where I literally felt it in my body. I felt this does not feel healthy for me to feel like that. And in that moment, for myself, I realized that if I'm not going to change how I feel, I am not going to get well. I cannot heal if I feel like this. So it was a really extreme moment for me. And then I chose joy consciously and say like, okay. And some of you might have seen a post from me. I wrote about this in a bunch of posts all over the place. So I chose joy and said, okay, I need to make joy the priority for me. And I chose it in every moment. So I radically decided to not work with those coaches anymore, which was hard for me because I had to trust myself, right? I had to make this gross jump of saying, no, I am enough. I know enough now, and I can stand on my feet. I'm getting back on the sparkle path. And so I decided I knew enough to figure out my mind stories. It's okay. I need to focus on joy. I let them go. And then I chose a different space that was creative and joyful. And I got to play there. And I got to show up in compassion for myself in weekly calls where we just held space for each other. And I got soulful peer support for my business, for myself, and I got to be creative with it. And I felt so good. Even the decision in that moment for me to choose joy, I felt like, oh, this felt like a spa for me. So, and since then, that was my catalyst moment. And then I kept choosing joy in every moment. So also, like for instance, when I was like my chemo situation, and I know everybody has a hard time with chemo, and it's really challenging. What happened for me was that clinic was kind of very conservative, and they had all the things from I'm a designer, from a design perspective. All the things were like terrible. Like you couldn't open the windows. There was no fresh air. They had puke green walls. They had like furniture that was facing corners, and it just no feng shui. Like no, it was no feel good thing at all in there. And when I looked in there, like my smells, the sounds, they had no music. All of that made me feel sick. And I realized, okay, I'm choosing joy, right? I cannot heal in a place where I feel that makes me feel sick. I need to think wellness. I need to feel wellness, and I want to, right? And so while I couldn't redesign the whole clinic at the moment, being on the sparkle path then and having joy as my guide and inspiration, I choose, okay, what can I do, right? And so I ended up doing everything I could. So I actually bought a lamp that I brought with me that was feel good, so I didn't have their fluorescent light. Fluorescent light, that's not healing. I brought a headset that I listened to sounds, meditation sounds, and dolphins, and whatever made me feel good at the time. Just and then I did mindset stuff during chemos also, and I even corrected nurses and doctors when they were using words that didn't feel like healing to me. Like, there's a lot of lingo out there also. It's like calling things toxic. That doesn't feel good in my body. If I put something toxic in my body, no. So can you please call this whatever feels good to me? I called my chemos elixirs. That made me feel good. I wrote love on the chemo bags because then feeling that love flows into my body, that felt good to me, right? So I advocated for myself. I turned around the furniture. I did all the things. So, and I brought creativity. So anyway, so that's a bunch of stuff that I shared about me as an introduction. I'm still in the introduction. I haven't even gotten to the 10 points, but it shall inspire you. Like, that's my intention for you with this call, that you get whatever it is that serves you best right now. So I'm inviting you actually to also have some paper, some things to color and doodle and take notes, and simply absorb whatever stands out to you. There is no need to do everything. There is no shoulds. I go by intuition, and I inspire everybody to listen to your heart. Whatever pops out for you as inspiration will be perfect, right? So it's not about my way or anything like that. I'm not going to share any one formula. I am all against formulas in that sense. They're good as inspiration, and if they work for you, but my formula is following the heart, my intuition, and listening to my body and higher guidance. That's how I roll. And it's my intention for all of you to find that inner sparkle voice for your heart as well. So doodle away and just be present with that. So, and it's also my intention for all of you that you may find one inspired action for yourself to walk away with, that you can take now to benefit from in your own well-being and moving forward with more wellness and joy. So I want to test something here real quick I want to show this. I want to show both videos with this also. Anyway, okay, I'm getting to the 10 things now. I'm just making sure that we can see them here. Okay, and it's my intention to have about an hour and close the call in an hour. I'm going to see if I can make this happen. Otherwise, I will be here for more questions and answers for those of you who can stay longer, and also afterward in the chat. Happy to be there. Okay, so this, you see this here. So I'm going to start talking about the 10 things that helped me thrive through cancer. So I'm going to see if I can pin this, remove my pin and have this pinned. So in theory, we should see this big. Let's see if that will work. Okay, so the first thing that I did is to decide that I'll do whatever it takes to get well. Hang on a quick second here. I have to go gallery view. I tested this yesterday. Anyway, we see it at least small here. So the decision, that was the first thing. And this, I'm saying this also here because I had a strong drive to live, and I knew why, because I want to live a long time, and I'm really inspired to do big things in the planet. I want to inspire people, and I've had that desire for a long time, and I just feel it in my heart. So I decided that I'll do whatever it takes to get well. And yes, I want to live, and I'm not done. So this will to live is like a choice, and it's a prerequisite to get well, to like, if we don't want to, we have a choice. So, but it's important. So that was the first thing that I did. Decide that I'll be here a long time, and I do whatever it takes. And then the second thing that I did, I'm going to do this to give it a bit more, peace here, was I connected with spirit. And I'm not saying this that it has to be any particular one way. I have a super eclectic kind of belief. I see it like whatever we believe in, like even if we believe, okay, there's a higher power, I don't know what, I believe prayers work. In my case, what I ended up doing is I actually worked with a spiritual mentor also. She's a medium, and I connected with her, and I was like, okay, can you give me some reconfirmation? Like, will I be here for a long time? What's going on? Like, I asked that question, and it was kind of funny because there is she was reluctant to tell me because they don't just answer yes you will be whatever, because we have a choice. Like, it's not just set in stone and you can just, we're not robots, right? But I was able to to finagle like an answer out of her where she said, yes, it's a blip in my reality, I will be here a long time. So I got that answer, and I'm sharing that because that gave me such peace. I was not worried about dying soon after that, right? And I feel everybody can somehow find that peace by listening to our heart and by asking for spirit support. And that helped me in huge ways to find some kind of a faith and higher connection. And also even asking for prayers before procedures and praying. And that was part of it for me as well. And I kept actually also working with that spiritual mentor that I had and still occasionally work with. And yeah, it was just a huge support for me and gave me compassion and calmness and peace in the whole journey. A lot of times, like one of my biggest learnings was like, I wanted to do so much and like, I need to work, I got to do things. And every time I talked with her, I felt more peaceful afterwards. She's like, you're doing fine. You're doing great. Take it easy, learn to be still and take time to heal. And that always brought me back also on the sparkle path, because pressure again is not joy, right? So our minds can really like push us and yeah, making it a practice of not doing that. Then the next thing is like taking one step after the other. This sounds so simple, but it was a thing I had to choose or got to choose at the very beginning. I was kind of overwhelmed when it first got the diagnosis. I was still working with those coaches and like the money thing, and the doctors were going to send me to Anchorage, and I was living on Kodiak Island, and I had to within a few days just fly to Anchorage. Didn't know, well, I could finance the trip, but then okay. Then I thought I could just figure it out, in a month and come back and be fine. But no, it was this big deal of like really answering all these questions really quickly. It was overwhelming. But one of my coaches, the thing that she said is like, literally, okay, you have the present moment, you take one step at a time and you figure it out from there, right? There's always like, we have information, we have our heart, the next step. I have information, we have our heart, the next step. So that also really helped me to not look at the gigantic mountain of things, but just to take my next step. And also that calmed me down and it made me feel it's possible. And then allowing myself to be supported and asking for help. That was a huge thing that I became really good at. And it came down to like all those little things, like when I was in acupuncture, for example, if I felt a little bit chilly, can I have an extra blanket? It seems so small, but I noticed as I kept practicing this, it was like things that I wouldn't always ask because I'm like, oh, I'm too much, or oh, I'm better be nice girl, oh, I gotta be polite, like all those stories, right? It's like, so literally, like if our heart wants something, asking. And yeah, and I had, okay, there's another example. I was going to move from Anchorage to Palmer 2 weeks after surgery, and I had a small car and moving, and I don't have many people that I know in Anchorage, right? I had just moved, literally like moved over, new start. And this friend was helping me. Yes, sure, I'll help you. And like he hauled all the things. He came with a second car, loaded his car. We had my car loaded. He was like this Viking kind of guy. He loaded everything in like no time. And it would have taken me like a day and a lot of energy to do that with like barely. And after we were in Palmer and he dropped everything off, unloaded everything, I was like, thank you so much. And like, how can I, like, I wanted to give back. It's like this whole compulsive, like, I need to instantly return this, right? That's also a thing that we're trained a lot of times as women. Like you have to be nice and polite and like all these like, oh, you got to give back. You can't just take and blah, blah, blah. All mind stories, right? And so he said to me, you know, it's actually also a gift to give. And I gave him a gift by asking. I was like, whoa, that was another learning moment. It felt really good. So you're starting to notice, like, I learned a lot in the journey. And that being said, that's also why I call it a catalyst. It has been a huge empowerment journey. Like, as much as it can look like a challenge, and it is a challenge, it's also been an immense blessing of so many learning opportunities, of really finding my sparkle and my power, and in a good way. So be curious about what you can learn and what you can let go, to also claim more and more of your sparkle. Okay. Declare myself the captain of my healing journey. That was another big thing I did. I think we're number 5 here. So what I meant by that is that I get to choose my doctors and my health professionals and healing methods. I always decide. And I want to show a doodle I did here at the beginning of my healing journey. This is a journal, by the way. I started, and my mom had sent it to me. She was like, you should record all these things that you're learning on your journey. And I was like, yeah, would you send me a journal? And she did. This is my journal. Follow the end of the rainbow and follow my heart is what I wrote here. And so I did. And now I have this amazing book for myself. Where is the note that I wanted to share with you guys with all these learnings? One second. Here it is. Okay. This is the one I wanted to mention. So we're talking about me declaring myself that I'm the captain of my healing journey, right? And that I get to choose my doctors and healing methods and all that. And so the doodle that I did here is, this is me in the center. And I doodled it like a lotus kind of flower. And these are all the healing professionals and the ways I can heal myself, and the healers and resources that can help me get well. And I hope you guys can see it okay. I'm going to say a few. So here's like clinical medicine is one of them. For me, that felt right. The surgery, I did surgery. I did chemo, radiation, all those things, because they felt right at the time. Like every step I chose, and I also did additional things. So I went to acupuncture. That felt right for me and really helped me. I kept doing my inner work. This whole mindset, emotional, joy following, taking care of myself. It's like a radical self-love growth journey that I did. Emotional healing, mindset stuff. I have that here. I worked with a spiritual mentor, like I was mentioning. And then there's others, right? There's others I had done before, like theta healing, ancestral healing. Oh my gosh, we can do so many things. A nutritionist. So, but the thing, what you see here, and there's also other, there's this other book author that was talking about that. Some of those things contradict each other, right? And and no one thing is good or bad in that sense. It's always what works for us at the right time. And again, like I have been using my heart and my intuition. I even use it with food to really feel like, oh, does this feel right for my body right now, or does it not? And then when I'm not sure, I double check with my oncology nutritionist, who has her own view and bigger picture. And so we don't have to do everything, because that can be overwhelming, and we don't have to. And overwhelm, again, is not the joy energy. It's like the heavy, is like the, oh, we can't do this kind of energy. But coming back is like trusting our heart. So that, I wanted to show that real quick to show the bigger picture. That is what I mean by declaring that I was the captain and following my heart. I think there's a song, Captain of My Heart, somewhere. Anyway, so that being said, like, to be the captain, the opposite would be feeling that that we're a victim and we have to do certain things to get well. That's like what I did before with the coaches, right? Giving my power away to, I have to do this in order to make money. That's like not me having the power inside of me. So we always have a choice. Like, if you don't walk away with anything else, like, know that your heart and you listen to your intuition and ask higher guidance and what feels really right for you, follow that. You might not agree with a doctor, you might not agree with a treatment, and that's okay, right? Like, just really trust yourself and you will find your best way. Okay, so here's another cool thing that I did. And I think that's something that you might not see in the Thriver book. There's this cool side note, this cool book, Radical Remission. It's one of the books I got and read during the healing, that I was curious about. What does it take for others to heal from cancer, and who does it and who does not? And I can go through that real quick. There's this thing that a lot of people quote in that book, those Thriver people. So they did statistics and looked at what people do heal and who does not heal, and what do the ones who do have radical remission, which is a definition by itself, but it's around healing, right? What do they have in common? That's the list. What do they have in common? So what they found, I'm going to read this real quick because it might be hard to read. They radically changed their diets to healthy diet. They take control of their health, which is what I just had with the captain here. They follow their intuition, following our heart. They also use herbs and supplements and benefit of that. They release suppressed emotions. They all have that in common, because heavy emotions can actually make us sick. It's like, we all know when we hold grudges and like are mad or angry at somebody for a long time, it can drag us down and be this lump in our throat or whatever, right? And that can actually make us sick. So they all have in common to release suppressed emotions, to increase positive emotions. Joy, that's my whole joy guidance. And then to embrace social support. They also do that. They deepen their spiritual connection, whatever that means. And again, it doesn't mean you have to join a religion if you don't want to. It just means listening again to your heart and what feels right, and what kind of, even sending prayers to the universe. It doesn't really matter, but deepening that trust, that's already part of that. And then having strong reasons for living. Those are the key ones that they all have in common. So, and it's really interesting because all of those are not the ones that the doctors talk about today, right? The doctors just go here. They don't address the emotional piece and all those other pieces. So as you see here, I did check marks next to them. Like when I got that book out, I was already quite a ways ahead in my healing journey. And I was like, oh my gosh, I check off all these things. And here's why I'm doing so well, right? So yeah. So this next point is one that I did not see in that book. That's one of my mindset methods that I came up with for myself. and it's really fun. Okay, I want to take a sip, and I would actually love to see if anybody has questions so far, if anything particular resonates. And oh, welcome, Jackie. You were on the Facebook group chat and here now. I love it. So yeah, if you want to put anything in the comment, anything that stood out to you so far, perhaps something that, wow, you want to do that for yourself, or you're already doing it, validation. I'm going to take a sip of my tea and then I'm going to continue. I'm excited that you're all here to share this with. This is really fun to share what worked for me. I'm so happy I got to share these things.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Speak.
Hi, Astrid. Hi, everybody. Yeah. So the radical remission, I did start reading that. I haven't finished it yet. I kind of got, I don't know, overwhelmed.
Yeah,
It's like I'm not gonna be able to do all this.
Yeah,
but you're right. It's like, just key things you pick out. And then I told my therapist I was reading the book. She's like, "What are you reading?" I was like, "I read Radical Remission." Or she's like, No, you need to read something fun. And so I was like, "Yeah, maybe." That brings you joy, whatever. So anyway, that's just my 2 cents there.
I like it. And I love that you're listening to, like, when you get overwhelmed, like you don't have to push through that. And those things are like moments, right? Like I have moments where I'm inspired to, ooh, I want to read vibrational medicine and learn more about this thing. Or, ooh, I got a book from a guy who literally like wrote his last memoir before he passed away, right? And like with cancer, lived with, so pretty heavy. And then I have fairy tale books. I go with whatever. This feels great right now, and then I get bored with that, whatever. So, moment, there's no one way. It's your way, your heart way. So I love that. Thanks for sharing. Awesome. Anybody else want to pop up with any comments or questions? Otherwise, I will continue. All right. I'll keep going. Okay, cool. So, yes, go ahead. I was wondering, Carissa.
I was going to say something quick. I just got your book, and so what I do is something that I look forward to going to chemo. I actually don't read your book until I'm in that chair. And so I'll take my pen and then I'll actually like do the work thing, and it actually helps it go by a little quicker for me, because it's a 6-hour infusion for me. And it's really actually helping. And I just wanted to say that having to learn what you need to work on and going through all of these things, it's just a lot of self-work that we all have to do. And that book actually really pulled some things out of me, because I actually bring a pen and I write in your book because you leave space for that. And I really like that I don't have to write on the side, of the book. So it does help. And it just brings certain things into awareness to work on. So I just wanted to say that.
Ooh, you made me so happy. And are you going to Katmai in Anchorage? Are you going to Katmai? Okay, I had my former nurse, she's at Katmai now, and she texted me one day. She's like, somebody was reading your book. And I was like, what? I didn't even really promote it. So it made me so happy. So maybe you saw her. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm so glad. Whoa, that's big stuff.
Awesome.
That's so great. Thank you, Carissa. And yay. Wow. Okay. So here's a tool that I did for myself. And that's a super, super cool tool that helped me through the whole journey. Is a tool of a mindset tool of reframing things. And so when I was at the beginning of the journey, I was actually at the Anchorage airport before I was getting my my first appointment with my doctors and all that stuff. I decided, well, how am I going to frame this whole thing in my mind? So, because I could just say like, oh, this is happening to me, and this is terrible, and holy crap, am I going to die, and all these things, right? what I did is, okay, I am going to reframe this into how I want to reframe it, right? Because we get to choose, how am I going to look at this so that it feels empowering to me? And how do I want, what experience do I want? It's really fascinating. Our minds, like when we choose a game or like a framework, and then we play with that, then everything can get that flavor, and it can actually happen. And that's kind of it's like one of those manifesting things that can help you manifest what you want. And so what I decided as a theme and a framework is that for me, the whole cancer healing journey would be a spa cleansing into love. That's how I framed it for myself. And because I knew that I would heal emotions and mindset things. And so love is the goal, because love is healing energy, right? It's fear or love. Fear or love is like this whole spiritual choice thing. And off the sparkle path, on the sparkle path, right? Love is on the sparkle path. So I framed it as a spa cleansing into love because I wanted it to be as feel good as possible. And I also thought it's funny because it turned out that I was able to use this theme then again and again. So like in chemo, for example, it was because it was a spa cleansing into love, right? It's like, oh, that's an intense detox into love, right? And I wrote love on my chemo bag and that kind of thing. So and yeah, and then for radiation, I ended up thinking like, how can I reframe that? So there it turned out to be like, oh, I'm getting a tan, I'm going to the spa again, and I'm releasing some things that are not love. It's another detox. It's a healthy love tan kind of thing, right? So being mindful of what words we want to choose and how we want to view things, then we can actually also have fun with it. And this is our own choice and our own game. You might have another theme that you want to give your journey. So feel into your heart and see what comes up for you. And feel free to use mine. If that resonates with you, you can call it a spa cleansing into love. Like, it's not proprietary. So that also helped me to not be so scared of chemo anymore. And like anything that helps you not to be scared brings you back either on or closer to the sparkle path, right? And also supports it supports your body and immune system, because fear energy is survival energy, and your body is like it's a different chemistry than when you're relaxed and you're trusting and loving and all that. So that's another reason why this whole cancer experience for me has been so empowering, because I really stepped into practicing getting back on the sparkle path, getting back on the sparkle path, mind story, cleansing on the sparkle path, right? So and the more we practice that, we can rewire our brain, and we get to heal some old stories and release them. And so I literally, this whole thing here, the spa cleansing into love, that actually happened for me. It actually happened. It's a whole sparkle story. It really, yeah. And it continues, right? It's like it's kind of our inner growth, spiritual growth. The more we focus on that, the more we make that a practice. That's why I live so sparkling now. Okay, that was number 5. I feel I'm going to go over an hour. Oh my gosh, I have 10 minutes left. This is like Mission Impossible. Okay, I used mindset techniques, as you already mentioned, and kept seeing the positive in what I can do. That's also the reason why I capitalize the can in cancer all the time. I think that's kind of funny, important to me. And then, yes, I already mentioned this piece, to shift from trying to fix what's wrong with me to deciding I'm okay wherever I'm at, and that I already have all I need to thrive inside of me. I actually believe that we all have that. We have the force of life inside of us. We have it. And it's for us to free ourselves from whatever fears, beliefs, disempowerment. We can choose to create to step into that, onto the sparkle path. So yeah. Okay, then the next point, I kept playing the permission to sparkle game. And that's again, it's again like my book title, which I called Permission to Sparkle. Actually, I didn't even give that title. A coach got that as inspiration from the universe. Permission to Sparkle is a title and you're supposed to write it. That's another story. Anyway, it really is giving ourselves permission in every moment. Am I giving myself permission to sparkle or not? It's a choice for every moment. And even when it's like super harsh and we don't know what to do, we can't choose that. It's like when one time I was like so exhausted from chemo, I was laying on my bed and I was, excuse me, it was winter, Anchorage, dark. I was like in a subterranean apartment with almost no daylight. And so all I could do at that moment, and I wanted nature, feel nature, smell nature, sunshine, whatever, but all I could do was open the window and get fresh air. So I gave myself permission to do whatever I could in that moment. And I was laying on bed and got fresh air in winter. I'm like, ugh, okay. And sometimes it's just that, right? But that is a choice of what can I do for myself right now to create like a little bit more joy or a lot, whatever it is we can do without pressure is a big one. Okay, and then the next one is to fundamentally shift gears from what is wrong here to choosing joy. So I talked about that a lot, but this is so big for me that this is like this gigantic point because I know this helped me expand my wellness. Because what brings us deep joy changes our body chemistry to healthy, thriving mode, and it supports our immune system and our wellness. And so what happened for me, because I did all of these things, I actually had, and I mentioned that in a bunch of places already, you might have seen it, but I had super gentle side effects for the chemo, and I was healing really fast, and I did all those intense ones too, like the Taxol and whatever, and when I was done with the last chemo, like my chemo doctor, she said like normally people their blood works go down and like challenges them and they have all kinds of side effects. My blood works, the numbers went up, and I had blood of a healthy person when I walked away from that, and I was like, that is awesome. Yeah, and I know that it was part of that, all of that I did, because I felt that already. Like joy creates that feeling already in your body. When you believe and create that feeling in your body, you create that body chemistry, and that creates your reality, because then your immune system is creating the health that you already think that you have, right? It's super fascinating, and the practice actually helps you experience and create that. So, okay, those were the 10 points. And then there's another one, or maybe it was 9, I don't know. Here's another big thing that I'm sharing though. I also used, and this is kind of I think I got all the points. I don't know. I also use creativity. As you see, I like to doodle. I use art to express, process, and for wellness. So there's a big thing that I'm going to give you a quick glimpse here in a second. Also, you see it here already a little bit. That can actually help us release emotions. It can help us heal emotions. It can help us let go old traumas and get clear. And there's so much power with art. I even did some art, like drawing myself as healed, or drawing myself like, well, what's going on? Like yeah, maybe I'll just show it to you. So I do intuitive art, and here's an example of what I did with art. Like this is, I tuned into me while when I was just diagnosed with cancer, what was going on in my life there. And then here now, what is happening now, and all these colors mean different things. So I'm not going to go in all the details, but I'm using art basically to see the energies and the emotional stories that are my learning bit at that time. So here was a big block that almost looked like a kind of a parasite on me here. And I do all these blindly, by the way. This is not a mind construct kind of deal. It's like following your heart, and everybody can learn this. Anyway, so I found out here. So I had like these mind blocks, things that were happening that showed me when I started the journey. I got to really find that, and now it's a totally different energy. I'm in such a different energy. There's like yellow and joy, and all these things are happening, and playfulness, all of that. And so yeah, so that's one way how I used art to heal, and getting messages of like how I can navigate and what do I get to learn and what helps me best. So creativity is awesome. That's definitely one of the big things. So I also did journaling, doodling, getting messy. It doesn't have to be pretty. A lot of it is like self-expression and letting those things out. Also, when we feel like crap, it's all about not bottling the things up. Yeah, hands in the dirt, whatever it is. Self-love. And I had a support team, a gigantic support team. Like I cried so many times realizing how supported I am from all, if I line up all the nurses, doctors, healers, friends, family, God, everybody, it's huge. So yeah, so it's not doing it by myself. So those were the 10, basically the 10 points. I want to check in real quick what resonated with you guys, and then I'm going to share an additional support thing I want to reveal for all of you guys who do want more support. I have something for anybody who wants more support. Does anybody have any questions at this point to me before I share what I would have as support, or anything that resonates in particular? And you can just unmute yourself. You guys look, or you can raise your hand. Are you good? I just continue.
I think like not, can you hear me?
Yes, you're breaking up a little bit, but
So, okay. It's like, for me, it's not fighting the chemo. That's the hardest part for me, is not to fight it. So that kind of resonated with me, is
awesome.
not battling that chemo.
Yeah, that's awesome. And there's some techniques that I did with that also to help with that. I did a few things that helped me a lot to be calm. So I'm glad that you have that intention already. Good, because then, yeah, it allows your body to receive it and to be relaxed and to make the most of it. Yeah, I'm glad you found some inspiration. Cool. Anybody else? You're feeling good? Okay, I'm going to share quickly what I got, and then you can connect with me if you want to have the full scoop. I don't know if you need to hop off, just go, because it's an hour. But I'm going to keep talking here, and I'm going to reveal what I have. I have an invitation for all of you who do want, if you do feel called to hang out with me and get more support from me. I am opening a Cancer Thriver Sparkle program. So where you can also, like I did, using cancer as a catalyst for true sparkle living, actually. And that's another reframe, right? It's like, instead of like seeing it as a terrible thing that is like doom and gloom and whatever, it can actually be a catalyst to create an even better life. And it might be a big mind jump, but it is, I'm living this, and I can help you get there. Without guarantees, of course, because I'm not God, right? But we can all create, work towards that and make our life more sparkly as we go. So that thing is 8 weeks with me in a group workshop on Zoom and with others who are on the same journey. And what you get in that container is you get my digital book with me. So you get to, like, like Carissa is working through it on your own right now during chemo. You can do that with me, where it's kind of like a book club where you have the book and you get inspired to take inspired action and be curious and where it leads you to get more and more on the sparkle path and have that accountability to have every week you reconnect. So and there again, there's no pressure, right? But it helps, and then you can ask questions. So you can have me as the author on your back pocket and actually work through it together, which would be like super cool. So you get the digital book, and then the weekly workshops are feel-good workshops. So it's kind of like what I experienced with that container that I mentioned that I chose at the beginning of my cancer healing journey, which is also creative. Every time I showed up there, I just felt like, it just feels good to be there, right? It was feeding my soul, it was nurturing me and my foundation, it was supporting me in clarity and getting out of my head and feeling more peaceful. And in finding also answers for myself that I needed and wanted to feel more clear. So in those feel-good workshops, I'll show you a glimpse in a second. Every week, there is actually something in particular that I will do to help you boost your wellness and joy and make sparkle living a practice. And this one is particularly tailored to cancer thriver seekers. So it's not just a generic workshop, but really tailored to what I experienced also. So what you get in here too is the whole thriving and new life. You get to practice cleansing your mind and emotion and new life and joy habits. And to do that regularly, here's that thing that we can do things on our own. And I'm not saying you have to do things with me, but if we do it on our own without support, it can feel heavy and harder and not so fun. And like you might fall off the wagon easier. So it's this is an opportunity to make it a practice to keep coming back on the sparkle path and have support, a container where you can celebrate each other and celebrate yourself as you do that with my support. So you also get a wellness boost because of all of that you do for yourself, where your fears go down more and more and your joy goes up more and more. And that's a big thing that I feel like I'm actually, even though I am categorized stage 4, I'm actually not afraid that it comes back. I am okay. And I, it might come back. I don't know, but I trust that I'll be here a long time. I'm good. I'm rocking this. This is not a concern. And I think that's kind of unusual. I don't know if all of you have that. I'm so happy for you, but I've heard a lot of people who have problems with fear around recurrence and all those things. So yeah, all this whole sparkle game of awareness and this practice helps you really get those fears down and the joy and the trust up. And then what you also get in there is a resources backpack to navigate with resilience and sparkle. And that's because you can ask me questions. And it's kind of like I'm setting the space for you to find your most brilliant answers from your heart, right? So I'll springboard ideas and then you find your own best ideas, which might be the same or might be something even better. So one thing that I do put in there as a bonus is going to be things that helped me go through chemo and made it super awesome, or not super awesome. That's exaggerated. It wasn't super awesome, but that helped me to do so well in the whole thing, considering that's more truthful. So I'm going to share all those things. And then for the radiation, the same thing. I'm going to share also, it's going to be a bonus. So quick glimpse here, what will happen during the weeks here, the 8 weeks. I will actually share how you can use art for your own clarity and healing and wellness. I'm going to share my methods here. There's going to be some playful things where, like, one week we'll create a healing words card deck that you can also take to chemo and color and doodle and just feel good about it. And then you can use it for daily mantras and things like that. Intuition crash course. I'm going to help you all hear your intuition in the way that works for you, because everybody hears it in different ways, and help you make that a practice. I have some yeah, I have some tools and things that I learned over the years with that. You're going to get a Thriver backpack with mindset tools that help me personally to get well and sparkle. And I'm actually giving people a package in the mail as a Thriver welcome package also. And then there's a part of it is a manifesting deal. That's part of the book, actually. I have a formula that I use to manifest things, including health, wealth, whatever you want to manifest. I'm going to share how I view this and how you can do this too. And it's not rocket science. It's going to be a playful practice tool that also includes playfulness. Actually, it's actually part of manifesting because we get out of our head. Then here's a doodle card deck that we're going to be doing to actually practice self-love, which has been a huge deal for me for my healing, to become a self-love. I don't know a word right now, but just get really, really good at this. And this is like, yeah, we'll have fun with this, where you get to find things that work for you, what you can do for self-love, and make that a practice. Then there will be also like one week we'll be facing fears and looking at the worst nightmare, reclaiming your power from it, because all the fears are actually just stories in our mind, right? Okay, and then there'll be a celebration call, and you get to celebrate living more sparkling, because over those weeks, as you find your nuggets and gems, you get to make it more and more of a practice to live more sparkling. And the 2 bonuses that I mentioned, yeah, so as a summary, what is included in that is 8 group calls with me over 8 weeks, the digital book, the Thriver Start package. There's a digital access to replays, and I also have resources in there. And then, yeah, and you get the start into a new life of more wellness and sparkle. So I want to tune in real quick and check in with you guys. If you have questions to that, and what resonates, do you feel, this is also a conversation, like, do you feel this is useful? Do you feel you're fully supported and you got this on your own? Or do you feel this resonates? How are you creating that support for yourself to heal not just your body, but mind, emotion, spirit, soul, and nurture your soul and feel good? And create your sparkle life. Like, okay, before I open for answers, I actually believe that when we create our life like in a way that feels sparkling to us, where we're like expressing our desires, we are feeling in harmony with what we want to experience. We don't have heavy stories, heavy things that we don't like. That's a healthy, thriving environment. So we get to create that sparkle life, and that is healthy. I feel that will create more and more health. I know it, I feel it. And I feel it also will keep us healthy. Like, I feel that that's why I will be here a long time, because I am living that and I am role modeling that. So I'm curious, how are you creating that for yourself? Do you feel it complete and you got all of that already? Or does this resonate, what I put on the table here? If anybody wants to share any questions, whatever you want to say. And you can just unmute yourself and speak. And I'm going to check on Facebook. We have watchers on Facebook. Hello. Anybody, any questions? Chime in. I'm seeing the comments here. Also, if you put comments there. And you can also share any feedback to other points that I mentioned.
I was wondering about the group that you were mentioned, the 8 weeks. How can we join? I would love to join.
Okay, oh, that'd be lovely. So it's all it takes is you asking. It's like the whole ask thing. And I will send you the link. Yeah. And I actually also, I didn't even mention a price deal. So I'm not charging like big price ticket deals like I would for businesses. I made it actually so that I think it should be okay. Like a workshop, typical workshop kind of pricing. That if we go to creative workshop, I kind of kept it in that pricing frame. So with all of the magic that you get. Okay, I'm getting a message here, and I will message you the link, Letty. Thank you for asking. I would love to have you. I'd be so excited. Carissa, you said using the chat since your connection is poor, interested in joining the group for 8 weeks. Hurrah! I'll be so happy to have you too. Oh my goodness, awesome. Any other questions, anyone, or things you would love to see there, or you think that are unclear or whatever? Let's see, comments here. And I'll also take comments from the replay.
I don't have any questions. I just, really appreciate this. I've been researching and looking and watching, and, I'll look at this group, I've read a couple, seen a couple of people that have had cancer in books and those type of things. So I'm just always interested, and your method sounds exciting and simple, really. I mean, not too simple, but you just got to do it. You got to put in the work, and it seems fun. So good job. Thank you.
You're welcome. And you can chat with me if you have more questions coming up. And what I'm hearing from you too, that you hear a lot of things, and you mentioned overwhelm before, that sometimes things are a lot. So I'm just giving you the recommendation, just meditate on it, whatever, like, where is your heart leading you to? And
Right.
because there is no should, really, like, it doesn't matter, and you can't do things wrong. It's like when you follow your heart, you will find the right thing. And there's actually a method that I use, like, well, I did the simple meditating before too, of just kind of like getting quiet and just, and then hearing the heart speak. And if that's not working for you, there's so many things we can do to hear our intuition. We can go for a walk. Like, I get my best answers when I'm for a walk and not just sitting there and trying to figure it out, right? Then I'm like, oh, and then there's a simple one where you can just say, does it feel light or does it feel heavy? That can be a very simple one. It's kind of like, light, heavy, like go wherever it feels light. Like sparkly, I call it, wherever it feels sparkly, go there. And I don't mean my sparkle, I mean in general, like the lightness kind of thing, because that's your heart saying like, yeah, this is good for you. So
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Any questions, Terry? You're feeling complete, good feedback?
Yes, thank you for sharing. Definitely, it's a good program.
Okay, I leave it to you guys to message me if you want the access. I'm not pushing anything on anybody. So I love that you guys appreciate it. It's awesome. So my door is open. I'm officially starting this on August. And until then, whoever's game now, like, I will send out the packages to get it started, to prepare for the thing, and you get access to it as well. Okay. Thank you all so much for having stayed so long, and thank you for yourself for being curious to support yourself. You really did a huge thing for yourself, and know that it's a huge part of your healing to have that curiosity what you can do for yourself, because this is all around self-love and inner sparkle and heart happiness, right? So thank you.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Open in the chat. Much love to all of you. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.